This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Motorola Droid 2, available on Verizon now for $199 with contract. This, as you might guess, replaces the original Motorola Droid on Verizon, and it shares similar design, but they've upped the specs on it and given it a little bit more style. Instead of the very minimalistic, rectangular, black original Droid look, we now have some chrome here around the edges and some curvy corners, softening up the design just a little bit. The other big change for the design is the keyboard. They have gotten rid of the D-pad on the right-hand side, which probably nobody was using anyway, and really created a cramped keyboard on the original Droid that we complained about. Now you've got the full width to work with here. The keys are still, unfortunately, very low travel. It's the price you pay for such a slim design. This phone isn't much thicker than phones that are just slate designs without a keyboard. But if you can see, there is a little doming now to each key, so you can feel what key you're on. Makes typing a little bit easier. Still wouldn't call this one of my favorite keyboards, but it is an improvement. We'll take a quick look at this compared to its slate brother on Verizon, Motorola Droid X. Now, the Droid 2, like the original Droid, has a 3.7-inch display, 480 by 854 pixel resolution. This guy ups it to 4.3 inches, so it's a much larger phone, obviously. So this guy is certainly more pocketable. In terms of thickness, the Droid X tapers, so this is the thinner end of the Droid X. And that's the fatter end, where you can see they're almost the same thickness there. So you're not paying much of a thickness penalty by going with the Droid 2, certainly. Compared to the Droid, this has a faster CPU, as a 1 GHz ARM7 family CPU, and the original Droid in its day was pretty zippy, but then the Nexus 1 came out and kind of blew it out the water, being a 1 GHz Snapdragon device. Now 1 GHz is the standard for these superphones of the Android platform, and this guy really benchmarks very quickly. We're quite impressed with that. You've also got double the RAM, you have 8 gigs of internal storage, and there's a micro SD card slot, and Verizon includes an 8 gig card. This has the same 5 megapixel camera, same spec as the original Droid. It takes slightly better pictures though. The original Droid's pictures were kind of not too good. A couple of firmwares did help with that, but this is an improvement. HD video on this is not the sharpest looking thing, unfortunately. You do have a dual LED flash on the back. Continue to look around the device. Here's the camera button, your volume rockers, 3.5mm stereo jack, power button, micro USB port, and nothing down here but the microphone for voice. This is the first device in the US to ship with Froyo. That's the latest and greatest OS that you can get for Android. There is nothing newer at the moment. I'm sure the Evo at some point will start shipping with 2.2 stock on Sprint, since they just offered an upgrade recently. But for now, this gets to be the very first to ship with Froyo. Froyo adds several improvements, including native support for Wi-Fi hotspot function, where you can use the phone as a Wi-Fi hotspot for notebooks, iPads, whatever you want. And there are some UI improvements too, but this is running a, I would call it Moto Blur Lite. You know, it's not something that's very heavy-handed like the Motorola Click or Backflip, but they have customized the user interface, and so, see, some things are, like the waterfall effect for icons isn't there, and some of the sorts for contacts aren't there. Not sure why. Motorola axed some of the nicer things in Froyo, but it's not a terrible experience either. Speaking of Motorola's enhancements, those of you who have the original Droid, you're used to just using vanilla Android 2.1, so this won't come exactly as a shock, but some things are different. You've got a bunch of speed dial here, photo speed dials they've added on, and you've got your widget for music playing. These are Android widgets for information and news. And here we've got the calendar widget, messaging widget, wireless radio controls, the weather, all these things courtesy of Motorola, and social networking up here, which these are not the most exciting widgets I've ever seen. Honestly, I would prefer some other third-party widgets for Twitter and Facebook. Some of these widgets are resizable, but you can tap on it to see something larger. And scroll through. See more tweets. There's some value-added software in here. For example, this Blockbuster, which we first saw on the HTC HD2 on T-Mobile, and the Windows mobile phone, but now you can rent Blockbuster movies and play them on the device. We've got DLNA, which is for streaming media over wireless network, Wi-Fi in your home, for example. Google Latitude is pre-installed on here. Of course, you get the latest version of Google Maps. My Verizon for managing your accounts. Verizon did a nice job of not trashing this phone with too much software. AT&T, we're talking to you. If you want Verizon software, you can go to the marketplace and tap on the Verizon tab and download applications. For example, we did download VZ Navigator because that's useful, turn-by-turn navigation service, and VCast videos, and some other things. Quick Office is pre-installed on here. There's a demo of Need for Speed Shift that we're going to take a look at. And Skype Mobile is pre-installed. So we're going to take a look at some multimedia right now. We're going to look at VCast video first. And we'll just pick an episode of Castle. It plays it in segments. And this is using Verizon's EVDO network.
Psychopaths and mystery writers. I'm the kind that pays better. Who am I? I'm Rick Castle. Castle. I really am ruggedly handsome, aren't I? Every writer needs inspiration, and I found mine.
Detective Kate Beckett, Nikki Heath. The character he's basing on you.
And thanks to my friendship with the mayor, I get...
And that's about as good as it ever gets on VCast. It looks very nice. And take a look. You have a choice between ABC, CBS, Fox, Spike, USA. So if you're into VCast, you can actually use it on this. Wouldn't be an Android demo without taking a look at YouTube. So we'll do that. Now this actually runs Flash 10.1 plugin, which means you can actually play full Flash video, not just the mobile version of the videos. But so we're going to take a look at the YouTube player first.
Well, yeah, I just want to see everybody.
I'm going to switch to HQ mode.
Ow! That didn't feel good. I don't know why she just threw that at me. I love you guys, but... Everybody, because I love you guys, but... Ow! That didn't feel good.
Okay, YouTube. There it was. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the contacts to see how Motorola customized that. Motorola does do integration between the various social networks, Twitter, MySpace, Facebook, with the contacts on the phone. So we're just going to take a look at a contact. You can see that's the contacts view right there. And it picked up that information from Twitter, so it has the person's Twitter information. Calendar is relatively unchanged. Android market is typical Android market for 2.1 and later devices. You've got your apps, your games, and here's the Verizon tab, so you can download either Verizon applications or things that they recommend, many of which are free. You can get NFL Mobile, for example, for you football types. So that's the Android market. Next we're going to check out Need for Speed Shift, since we do have 3D APIs here. This should look pretty good. The phone also ships with a Kindle application for Android. You can download that for other phones too on Android, but it's nice to have it pre-installed. Volume is set to near max, so you know how loud it is. The original Droid had a very good speakerphone. This one's not quite as good, but it's pretty loud. There's a speaker grill right here. Turn on the volume a little bit. Accelerometer base game. So we may pick up some glare here as we move it around, try to race. The glare is so bad I actually can't see what I'm doing. Now we're going to take a look at the web browser. This is the usual Android WebKit web browser, enhanced with Flash. So we're actually on the New York Times homepage right now, playing an embedded video on the New York Times front page.
Tries to negotiate the gap between largely westernized economies.
And if you stretch it, it pauses and then resumes playing again.
And more devout Muslim programming channels.
And you can see we can scroll easily on the New York Times homepage. Now let's take a look at our own homepage. Typical of Motorola phones, this thing has very good reception. Voice quality is not bad. It sounds a little hollow, but other than that, it's adequate for voice, but the reception is just gangbusters. You can see we have quite a few bars here, and Verizon service is usually not terribly strong in our area. And there we have our home page. We'll go to the BlackBerry Torch, the other competing device that launched on the 12th. In fact, I think Verizon hurried up the Droid 2 release just to try to rain on the Torch's parade a little bit. Loads pretty quickly. And let's take a look at the YouTube video we have. That's a standard Flash video on the page.
This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the new BlackBerry Torch 9800 that's available.
There it is, looking very sharp, sharper than mobile video would look. The performance is pretty good too. It's quite an achievement. This is doing better than my Nexus 1 with Froyo did playing Flash. So that's the Droid 2 by Motorola, a nice evolution with improved specs and an improved keyboard. It's available on Verizon now for $199 with a contract. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website to read the full review.